And guess what, folks? We are here, Washington Football Maniacs. My name is Greg Sykes. I am your host, along with my co host, Brandon Scott. And the night is finally here. We finally get to know who our quarterback is going to be, which means that the Commanders are going to probably trade down. And no, who knows? I, I feel I feel pretty confident in saying that we are pretty much probably going to wind up picking a quarterback at number two. Now, uh, we could trade back into the first round to get our left tackle, and I would not be surprised at that at all. But I really, I mean, honestly, those are the two positions. Well, of course, Brandon has really focused on cornerback position, which I think we also need to look at. A good big wide receiver would be great. But yeah, the two main positions, I think everybody can agree on: quarterback, left tackle. If we can land those two, if we hit on those two in this draft, I would consider this draft a major success. Because I mean, we got some pretty good guys all around that we got in free agency, and so I feel good about at least this year, maybe into next year, but most certainly. With those two positions, it's just exciting. I tell you, it's going to be a relief. I think Brandon, like after after that name gets called, we know that Caleb Williams. I would say there's a 99.9% chance that Caleb Williams goes number one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but of course, the big drama is going to be number two, number three. Who will the Commanders pick? And then will the Patriots stay pat? See what I did there, Pat. And will they pick up Drake May or Jaden Daniels? Or will they trade back and maybe you have somebody like the Vikings or the Giants to move
Yeah.
up into that third spot to get a quarterback there? I mean, I think number three is where you're going to really start seeing the drama, Brandon. I think one and
Yeah.
two is pretty much going to be cut and dry. The only thing that is not quite certain for the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and before it all starts, Brandon, are you still feeling like it's going to be Jaden Daniels?
Ooh, man. I'm really 75-25 Jaden Daniels. I think there's a chance that it could go Drake May. Yeah, I think there is a chance. If you look at the state of the franchise, are we necessarily ready to compete this season? Not necessarily, even though there's a lot of turmoil in the NFC East. So looking, there's a lot of noise as far as the first 10 rounds as quarterback, because looking at the Giants, I believe Daniel Jones, there's they can get out of his contract in 2025, so they may want to go find a guy they could develop, and then when time to get rid of Daniel Jones, throw him in there. The Vikings is a team that traded up, so they really like JJ McCarthy. The Oakland Raiders, there's a lot of smoke with him or with them and Jaden Daniels, but I don't think they can do enough to really get in position to get Jaden Daniels. I think at number two, you got to go Jaden Daniels, but who knows? I think that Drake May, they could surprise people. So I think the biggest thing to look for, Greg, is a couple things. Number one, definitely look out for the possibility that we could trade back into the first round, and really, yeah, the first round is very important. You're going to find your franchise quarterback and hopefully a left tackle. But here's the thing: the second and third rounds are just as important, because the second round, those two picks very often not they're going to be asked to come into play. So they're very important. Obviously, quarterback is a big issue, left tackle, but look at other areas. Um, look at cornerback. We need a number one corner. St. Juice. I don't know how much confidence they really have in him being the number one option. Emmanuel Forbes, does he take that step forward? Linebacker's good. Defensive line's good, but wide receivers another group, and they could possibly add another running back in this draft, because you do have Chris Rodriguez, but Austin Eckler, he's solid, but do remember that he is at the end of towards the end of his career. So how much do you really expect from him this season? Because he's kind of a name, but we don't know what to expect with him being in the later stages of his career too. So a lot of holes to fill, but look, This is the first time in a long time that we have a new owner, new GM, new coaching staff, and we're about to have a new franchise quarterback. So I'm feeling pretty good tonight.
Ooh, wait, yes, yes, and adding on to all of this feeling good, uh, we found out today that Daryl Green's number is going to be
Yeah.
retired, and that I can't think of anybody else who is more deserving than Daryl Green at that point. Number 28 will not be donned on any other jersey in Washington. And I'm telling you, I got kind of emotional when I watched that video because um, it did two things. Number one, honor Daryl Green, obviously.
Yeah.
The second thing it did, it showed that this ownership cares about the franchise. It cares about those who sacrificed their body in the past, to provide the glory years
Yeah.
for this franchise. And um, you know, Josh Harris understands that, and he wants to bring those guys back in and say, "Look, Snyder's curse is gone." And we want you to be a part of this because we feel like we're building something special here. And so I was so excited for that because it feels like there have been a lot of, um, you know, past Redskins that really didn't want to have anything to do with this team,
Yeah.
because of Dan Snyder. And now that Josh Harris is in the building, this is like, to me, the first step toward honoring our past players. Who else should they retire numbers to? Who do you think?
Oh, good question. I'm with you. Daryl Green is definitely overdue, man. I was very surprised it took so long because he's just an iconic player, man. I mean, growing up watching him play, he was just that guy at corner, and he's just and people forget he was a kind of undersized guy. He showed how far heart can go. And these players back in the day, man, like, your Sean Taylors, your Daryl Greens, so much heart, man. I mean, Daryl Green, to me, when you think of cornerback in the district, you think of Daryl Green, easy. Obviously second you look at Champ Bailey, other people, but the hallmark is Daryl Green. So I'm excited to see him get his number retired, man, because it's definitely overdue. What players to come? That is a good question, man. That's a really good question. Let's see. Let's really think about it because who did he have so far? They retired Sean Taylor, right? They retired. Right? We
Hmm.
gotta look at the numbers real quick. Um,
Allegedly, they retired Joe Theismann, but of course that kind of came out of retirement when Haskins asked for it. But nobody had wore that number. Of course, was it Sonny Jurgensen, number 9?
yep.
Um, no one had. I haven't not seen anybody wear number 44. I don't think. Um, what about Art Monk?
Oh, I was just about to say his name. Absolutely. Should definitely be the next step. Our Monk. I mean, because I'm looking at the numbers now, and right now it's just Sammy Ball 33, Bobby Mitchell 49, Sonny Jurgensen number 9, and then Sean Taylor 21. So our Monk has to be in consideration. Absolutely has to be in consideration. That's that's a good question because I want to say, man, that's a good question because I mean maybe look at the Hogs. Some of them would be. I would look at them. The newer skins. You could say Santana Moss because I know he's with the team now. But 83, we'll see. I think that's probably your best bet. To me, would be Art Monk because that would be the next iconic guy that should have his number retired within the organization. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I guess for those of us who got to see the posse play, we know Art Monk out of the three is the only wide receiver to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The other two probably didn't have as good of numbers. I don't know. I have to go back and look, but you could make a case for Gary Clark. You could make a case for Ricky Sanders. I think after a
Yeah.
while, though, if we look at all of these guys, it's like you're going to run out of numbers, so you can't retire everybody. Obviously, maybe just retire the ones who have made the Hall of Fame. That would be
Yeah.
my thing. So definitely Art Monk. I think his numbers should be retired. And honestly, in this day and age, wide receivers are enjoying with the numbers within anywhere from 0 to
Yeah.
19. So they're not really caring so much for the numbers in the 80s as much anymore. So I would love to see his number retired, and maybe that happens next year. Um, but so I guess so. John Riggins' number was not retired, or was it?
From the list I saw, no, which is very
Wow,
surprising. Very
very surprising.
surprising. Because I would have figured he'd already have his number retired because that guy was very iconic at a running back position. Like I said, looking at running back, that would be the next running back, in my opinion, would be John Riggins. I mean, Clinton Portis, maybe because I know he's had a lot of legal issues. Was he here long enough to be able to have his number retired? And even when you look at the newer teams, that's kind of the quandary you run into is were they here long enough to be able to have their number retired? Because we had a lot of talent. I mean, as far as receiver, I mean, you had Deshaun Jackson. Was he really here long enough? Pierre Garcon, was it Lavernius Coles, Santana Moss? They had impacts, but were they really here long? Because the thing with the difference of the era is back in that era with Art Monk and Darrell Green, players stay with their franchises long term. It's
Yeah,
very rarely did you see a lot of turnover as far as players going for other teams. Whereas now, it happens all the daggone time. So, that's one thing that's going to be different as far as now is that what is the criteria now to have your number retired? And really, at what point do you retire all the numbers? Because it's going to be one heck of a game where it's number 0 threw a touchdown to number 0 or 0.0. So
I know. They'll start have to using halves or algebra.
right,
Oh, well, number 8A is coming into the game. You know,
right,
he's had a tremendous rookie season. He's definitely playing like an A player. He's definitely not the B team. That's definitely for
right.
sure. But yeah, yeah. So I'm just I'm very excited about that. But again, it just really shows that this ownership is really involved into making things better, not just for the fans, not just for the franchise in general, but they also want the past players to be involved and to be a part of the whole thing, like it should be.
Yeah.
So I just have such a great a great feeling about all of this. Um, so I mean, Brandon, it took a horrible season for us to get here, but once again, the Washington football team is they're picking number two. They picked number two back in 2020 when they picked Chase Young. They picked number two back in 2012 when they picked
Yep.
RG3. Those two picks, of course, those guys did not end their seasons with the Washington Redskins, Commanders. RG3 didn't have too much of a career after he left Washington. Um, Chase Young, we'll see what happens with him. He's on his third team already,
Yeah.
going to the Saints. So we'll see if he can kind of resurrect his career in New Orleans. But here we are now, the number two pick, and so we have to hit on this. I feel like if we don't hit on this, it's just going to set this franchise back. I'm so
Yeah.
nervous about this pick because it's always a crapshoot with these quarterbacks. But do you feel like out of these quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels is probably the most NFL ready? Like he could start from day one?
Um, I think he's one of a couple who can be ready to start right away, in my opinion. I think he's definitely very polished. 5 years in college. We were talking about Drake May. Drake May, is only 2 years. So I thought that, looking at him, I think that, how do I say this? I'll say this. As far as raw talent, Jane Daniels all day. As far as who's going to be the best quarterback long term, Drake May, easy. As far as who is the most pro ready, as far as knowing how to play in the pro system, JJ McCarthy, just because of his pro system in Michigan. So I think the biggest thing is, where does each one of these guys fit as far as system, as far as weapons around them, as far as play calling, as far as intangibles. Jane Daniels, you can't deny that dual threat. It's very exciting to watch. Now,
Yeah.
you obviously have things to work on. He's got to learn how to slide. He's got to learn how to protect himself. He's got to add a little bit of weight. He knows that. Drake May, the arm strength's there. Accuracy issues a little bit, but not really alarming in my opinion. But he's got the body of Josh Allen. And you look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen took a while to develop until you saw pay dirt as far as where he is now. And JJ McCarthy, he reminds me a lot of Brock Purdy. He reminds me, and I'm not going to say he's the GOAT at all, but he reminds me of Tom Brady as far as being the perfect system quarterback. Knowing exactly where your place is within the system and how to run the system. So I think that this is a beautiful situation that this franchise pie has never found itself in, because we got out of a bad relationship with a bad owner who was a terrible human being. We got a new owner who, look, he's shown that he knows how to run a franchise. He runs the Philadelphia 76ers, who are currently in the NBA playoffs, New Jersey Devils. I mean, he's shown that he's trying to bring back not only the fans back, but a lot of the former players, like you said. So he has shown all of the right signs that he's going to be a really good owner for us. New GM. We don't have a GM who was put in by a coach where the coach is making all the calls, like Ron Rivera. We got a guy who's shown that he can build a team up, that he's been successful in every stop he's been, whether it's New England, whether it's San Francisco. He's got the track record. He's got the moxie to build this team as far as personnel. Head coaching. The biggest thing with this team going forward is culture, especially defense. You want the fans to come back. You want the players to come back. You want that feeling to come back. We need Washington to be a place that is hard to win at, like it used to be. That comes with defense. I think that Joe Witt Jr., man, is going to put the fear of God in these guys, man, and make them dogs on the field. The same thing with Dan Quinn. This defense is going to be much improved, and you're going to have a dog mentality with the Commanders. They're going to play hard, and they're going to make it hard for people to win here. And that's what it used to be. RFK, they used to rock that stadium so hard, man, they thought it was going to break down. I mean, we need to bring that back. Make this place hard to win at again. Definitely bring back that aura of just a tough, hard-nosed organization. And I think we're well on the way there, man.
I agree. When you have an owner that's already trying to improve on things, and not just the team in general, but trying to improve the business aspect on everything, trying to improve the overall NFL experience on game day. Him getting that F minus, that probably lit a fire on him, because he said, "I am not an F minus person." So that's unacceptable. And so I expect that probably within the next 5 years, assuming that the team is still playing in the current stadium, he's going to improve things enough. And then, of course, he's going to, have the team move hopefully to a new stadium somewhere where it's going to be exactly where the team needs to play. So I'm just so excited for everything. I mean, folks, we're not going to assume that there's not going to be some bumps along the way. Every single pick is not going to be a home run. Okay, no. So even in this draft, there's going to be some bum picks. We know this. But I mean, we hope that at least the quarterback position is going to be good. But I mean, overall, I just feel like they're building this right.
Oh yeah.
And regardless of how a lot of us social media general managers think, overall we got to sit back and see how things, because a lot of people have not really been able to see how a good general manager runs this franchise. They've not seen that. And if they did, it was so long ago that they were so young they couldn't remember it. So I think you're seeing, as you would always say, the adults are in the room now. So
Oh yeah.
they're yeah, they're taking control. And so tonight I think is really going to um, be the first of, I think, proven the savviness of Adam Peters and how he can build a team. We already saw it in free agency, and he blew all of our minds away with
Yeah.
what he did in free agency. So we all feel like we know that he said he likes to build a team through the draft. So
Yeah.
this is where I feel like he earns his money. So I've got the draft on, folks. I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on that.
I see Brandon is finding it now, and I'll totally admit that I signed up for the NFL Plus tonight just so I can watch this because I don't have cable. So I'm like, I am going to make sure that I'm watching this. Maybe I'll cancel unless the NFL wants to sponsor this channel, then I'll be glad to keep
Hey.
it.
By all means, what's up?
By all means. Oh, but yeah, I'm a sucker for streaming. But here we are. I mean, we're like just really a few seconds away from them
Oh, yeah.
starting this thing up. So, folks, join us. If you haven't joined us yet, hopefully you're joining us now. We're not going to deter you away from watching. We expect you to have you can have the draft on and have us on the laptop. So we're going to be quiet when they come up to the mic. So we're not going to jibber jabber through this. So come on, have a good time with us, folks. Come on and send us some chats, send us whatever, and see what you think. So here we go, folks. They are starting officially.
Oh yeah.
NFL Draft 2024.
Wow, Barry Sanders.
Wow. Look at that. Eminem is there.
Oh yeah.
I love M&Ms. The yellows are no, just kidding. I
Oh wow,
love
we got
Eminem.
was that Aiden Hutchinson and Jared Goff?
Nice. I think you and I must be like on like almost a delay on our TVs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because right now Eminem is at the mic, and of course he is firing up the Lions fans, and out comes several NFL players.
Oh, matter of fact,
Calvin Johnson.
What's that
Go
receiver?
ahead.
Amon St. Brown. He actually got an extension. The
Nice.
last couple days ago. Yeah, it was him and
Okay.
trying to think who else got an extension, but
And out comes Barry Sanders. Um, if you didn't get a chance to watch Barry Sanders play,
man, you
Man.
missed something special. Lord.
oh god, he was like a human cheat code. I mean,
Yeah.
golly. All right,
All right. Roger Goodell's up.
and on mine right now, they're chanting Jarrett Golf. Okay,
I mean, I'll tell you what, man. It's been cool to see him resurrect his career in Detroit, though. You know,
he
because
really has.
a lot of people were low on him in LA, even though he kind of brought them to a Super Bowl. But he found the right spot for him, and that's why I always go back to the perfect system, the perfect spot. I mean, I like what Detroit's done, man. Coaching, the players they have is kind of the example, what we can attain, because you forget Detroit was kind of an afterthought, like a punchline. They got a
Yeah.
legit team now, man. So
Well, you hit it on the nail. Coaching, great
Oh, yeah.
coaching can
Oh,
can
yeah.
really resurrect any career.
absolutely.
And I know that his career kind of got resurrected under McVay, and
Yeah.
then of course, going to Detroit, he's played really well there as well. So he's turned into a pretty solid quarterback who, honestly, his first year, we thought, man, this guy's a bust. But
Yeah.
that's why you
Yeah.
can't give up on these players after 1 year,
Yeah.
And it's funny how a lot of these people are coming out and, now defending the Sam Howell thing and like, I don't know why we got rid of him. They
I
hated
know,
him all
right?
through the year,
Right.
right? Now they're I don't know why we got rid of Sam Howell. I really don't know why. It's like, come
We
on.
fought this battle all year long with people, telling them that Sam Howell was not that bad, and now all of a sudden, but what they say, you don't know what you lost till it's gone. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. Exactly. So, oh, Chicago Bears are officially on the clock, Brandon.
I
It's
don't
a big
expect it to be
mystery
too
of who
long,
they're going to pick.
right?
I have no idea who they're going to pick.
So let me ask you this, okay?
Okay.
If they go Jaden Daniels, do you go Williams?
I think you have to.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you have to. I really do. Because I think Williams is that talented. Now, is he going to be a diva? I guess is the only thing.
yeah.
We've heard all this stuff going on, but yeah, if they went Jaden Daniels, I think you have to go Caleb Williams. There's just no way around it.
Oh yeah,
Um, so, but it's funny because all of these front office people for the Bears are just sitting solemnly in their war room as if we have no idea who we're going to pick, but we're going to wait until like the last second. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Um, but of course, they're showing highlights of Caleb Williams right now, and Caleb Williams does remind me a lot of Patrick Mahomes, the
yeah, yeah,
throwing,
yeah.
off balance and stuff like that. So, Patrick Mahomes, I think, is changing how the quarterback position is being played, and so if you want to catch Kansas City, then what better way than to get somebody who plays like Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I agree. I think we got our first comment, Greg. This is from Derlou, and he asks, "Do you think Mariota's career will be resurrected? What do you think?"
Nah, no,
I think to a certain degree, yes. As a
yeah,
backup, he's going to find where he. I think he's going to find his calling as a backup quarterback. And if you look at his draft position, his experience, I think he's going to be able to definitely help the transition for the new quarterback coming in as far as being that leader. But as far as the starter now, I think that ship has definitely left port already.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, if he's willing to be a solid backup and to really help, mentor the younger quarterbacks,
Yeah.
absolutely, I think you can say his career can be resurrected like that. But as a starter, no, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And I liked Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
I really did. I thought he played pretty well in his early on in his career, but I just think at this point now he's good if he can be a backup, and I think that's where he needs to stay. But we'll see. Who knows? I mean, I want him to do the best he possibly can. I want him to push these youngins. So if he can push to be the starter and he can play really well as a starter, by all means, by all means.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he goes on to say Mariota can share his experience as a number 2 pick.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh man, you're right. A number 2 pick.
Yeah. It all goes down to the fit, man. Did he necessarily fit in Tennessee? That was one of those things where, because people forget the Eagles were actually in position to draft Mariota that year, and the deal fell through. So it's all about fit. But I think that is a veteran backup, is a guy who's been around the block in the NFL. I think he can definitely help the new quarterback with his transition to the NFL. So I think it's a win-win. I mean, don't expect him, Mariota to come in and be that guy because I think he's past all that. But he definitely has the experience and the intangibles to help the new guy come in and get comfortable.
I mean, Mariota, he's a mobile quarterback, so he can beat you with his legs. A very athletic guy. So I think he fits the system. That I think he fits the style of quarterback that Cliff Kingsbury and company are looking for. So I think that he has a chance to come in and probably provide some good minutes for the team.
Yeah.
We just hope if that's the reason, it's because that the team is up by so much that they're resting the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Or if he is a starting quarterback, that he's playing really good and supplanting the rookie for at least a year. But it'll be interesting to see. I think they've done a good job. I know that was kind of a head scratcher. I even scratched my head on that one too. I was like, loved all the moves, but don't understand Marcus Mariota. It's like, why couldn't we just keep, Jacoby Brissett? Because he obviously was the best backup quarterback in the league. But maybe Jacoby just didn't, fit the mold. I don't know. And maybe we can't say he wanted more money because I think their salaries wind up being similar, their contracts. So, that is not the reason. So the funny thing with the Chicago Bears, it is on my TV. We're heading toward 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and they still haven't picked yet.
Well, it shows on because I'm watching the TV and I'm looking at ESPN. ESPN saying the pick is in.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm rest assured it's pretty much going to be Caleb Williams.
The pick just came in. The pick just came in. So here they go. They're going to pick Marvin Harris. Oh, okay, no, I don't know.
Oh no. Man, but you know what though? I mean, they still got to find a quarterback. But you imagine that wide receiver group in Chicago if they got Marvin Harrison Jr.
Because they have another first-round pick, don't they?
Yeah, they got number 9, so they can still go out and get a quarterback at number 9. So
they could.
You know what? That's actually a really, really okay. Yeah, okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. would like totally change the draft, man.
Oh wow! You get him, and then you go back and get a quarterback at 9.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because like their GM is he's trying to build his team to be a win now team. He definitely is. If you look at him picking up the receiver, Keenan Allen from the Chargers, to pair him with DJ Moore, you throw Marvin Harrison Jr. in that, man. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. If I was the Bears, I would have thought seriously about that.
Yep, it's official. Selection. Caleb Williams is walking to the podium. He is the number 1 overall pick.
Oh wow, you're a little bit ahead of me. It looks like they're still talking about it on mine. So Caleb Williams.
Yep, Caleb Williams is
officially a Chicago Bear.
And the Washington Commanders are officially on the clock. Yes, sir.
Yes. So I love how they boo Roger Goodell. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever. But yeah, mine's a little bit behind. But yeah, basically, Caleb Williams. I mean, no surprise, right? I mean, Caleb Williams was going to go number 1 regardless. And I think the only way that he was not going to go to the Chicago Bears is if somebody traded up to number 1 to get him.
Yeah, and I thought that the asking price is way too high for us to go from 2 to 1. I definitely thought we're good staying at 2. But I mean, like you said, Marvin Harrison Jr. really is that wild card in the draft. I'm glad you brought that up because, the fact that they got number 9, they could very well have picked him and still got a quarterback at 9. So that's intriguing. Now, if I know that this would totally just spin Twitter on his head, man. But what if the Commanders go Marvin Harrison Jr., man?
Oh my dear Lord! I think I would have to log off of Twitter for a few days and let it simmer down. I really do. I think people would they would definitely start hitting the bottle at that point. But I mean, hey, Marvin Harrison Jr.
I mean, very rarely do you see the kid who's just as good or better than the dad. Because Marvin Harrison, man, and with the Colts was money. I mean, he's the Hall of Fame wide receiver. But his son, man, his son has it. He's got that it factor. I mean, he would definitely make any wide receiver room better. So we'll see. I mean, I know that everybody right now is quarterback. So
Yeah, but it does kind of make you wonder with Harrison because he didn't contribute. He didn't take part in the combine.
yeah,
He didn't have any pro days. He's like, look, I've already put enough on film for you to know if I'm worth it or not. So I kind of get that, but at the same time, it does kind of give you a little pause. As yeah, but there's more to it than just the athletic part of it. It's the
yeah,
character. What type of character do you have? Because if I'm building the Washington Commanders, I want I want a bunch of Daryl Greens and Art Monks and guys like that on the team that are high character players. Not divas. And I'm not saying that Harrison Jr. is going to be a diva, but I'm just saying that I think it's usually, for me, I think it's unusual, and I think that it's kind of taking a chance not taking part in any of that stuff.
yeah. I totally agree, man. It's like I get all that, but then you still got to show up for those meetings at 8 o'clock in the morning, man. Like you still got to show up, and and that's why looking at Kalen Williams and even Jay Daniels to a certain degree, where it's like, there were reports. I'm not going to say they actually said it, but the reports were like, I don't know if I want to go there. It's like, man, you should feel blessed enough to be in the NFL. But
Hmm.
hey, I might have a delay too. My wife sent me a text, says I see we got Daniels. I don't know if she knows something I don't, but we have 3 minutes left. So we had 3 minutes left till the pick is
Maybe
in.
she's
So
pulling your leg. Maybe she's pulling your leg. Who
look, if
knows?
she pull my leg, man, it's a long walk from work, man, to be messing with me like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
I'm
love you,
getting
baby.
text.
If you're watching, baby, I love you, but don't mess with me. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm getting friends who are asking me who are we picking. So, and he sent that message at 8:22. So that was 2 minutes ago. So he still doesn't know yet. So maybe we're not that far behind. Um,
Because I'm looking on ESPN, it says the best fit at our pick right now is Joe Alt. But I mean, yeah, for some reason they got it as the best fit, which I get it, left tackle, yeah, but I mean, anybody with eyes got to see it. We need a quarterback, man, because like I said, Mariota just ain't the guy as far as starters. So,
I mean,
Rick,
I was in that camp of we need the left tackle first,
yeah,
but
me too, yeah.
yeah, but people did remind me of, well, we had Trent Williams all those years and never the quarterback. I'm like,
I
well,
mean, the way we did Trent, man, I mean, we haven't had the same level of production on the O line since Trent. I mean, yeah, I definitely think we need to go ahead and do whatever it takes to go find that franchise left tackle, whatever it takes, because that is essential to keeping Jaden or Drake or JJ protected this year. That is the most important part, is keeping them protected, because last couple of years, man, the O line's been looking pretty. I mean, I guess the most positive way to say is underperforming, but
it's horrible. It's
oh
horrid.
yeah,
I'm not too PC. I'm sorry, folks. It's been terrible. And I mean, I'm sorry if any players watch this channel, which I am very excited if you are, very honored. But yes, we need the offensive line to really step up the game this year because
oh,
hopefully we're going to have it. All right.
the pick is in.
Okay, the pick is in. The pick has not been said that it's in on mine yet. Um, but
Oh, they're showing the draft room for the Commanders right now. They seem to be happy.
okay,
I'm hoping they're happy, Lord, but um,
it's hard to
yeah,
tell with some of these draft rooms.
I know, but
Uh,
the pick is in. Oh,
all right.
who is the next franchise quarterback
Well,
of the Washington Commanders?
okay, folks, this is going to be Jaden Daniels, Drake May. We can finally end the argument here in
Oh,
just
I
a few
know.
seconds. Thank God. Praise the
And Roger
Lord.
Roger Goodell's walking up there.
Okay, I just hope he doesn't trip.
I know, right?
I'm seeing Ian Rappaport right now, so obviously I am probably a little behind. Um,
Jaden Daniels, boom,
Boom, there you go.
boom, boom, boom. Yes,
Jaden
sir.
Daniels.
Yes, sir.
So
The new franchise quarterback of the Washington Commanders is Jaden Daniels at
Jaden
LSU.
Jaden Daniels, folks. There you go. Um, yes, Jaden Daniels. We're looking at his stats from last year and all of his career stats. He's the next Washington Commanders, hopefully to be franchise quarterback. Um, I really think that in the end, I think we all kind of felt like it was going to be a no-brainer at this point. But I
Yeah.
mean, Drake May, I still like Drake May. I think he's going to go number 3. But and I hate that I'm so like mine is just I'm like I feel like I'm 5 minutes behind on my computer or my
Yeah, my
TV.
my TV's usually the one that's behind, man.
I know, right? Um, so yeah, yeah. So Jaden Daniels. Now the funny thing with Jaden is the fact that you know right when the season ended, people were kind of thinking, okay, he's going to be a first rounder, but you
Yeah.
could probably pick him up like maybe at the most 8 or 9, and maybe he goes later than that. And so it's interesting how he's been able to, you know, even not taking part in the combine, suddenly his stock just moved so far up, and now he was at number 2 and getting drafted by the Washington Commanders. So I mean, there's your franchise quarterback. Um, a lot of people are still probably going to talk about his size. I know
Yeah.
people are going to talk about his size, um, but I mean, I saw something earlier in the week where they were comparing to like Randall Cunningham, and
Oh.
Randall Cunningham was not very big coming out of college. What made him look big back then? Even the quarterbacks had like these huge shoulder pads. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
he had a lot of padding on him, but he was not like this huge, big, strong Cam Newton of a guy. So I think, like you said all along, I just hope that Jane Daniels now can learn how to slide.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm seeing Tutty on the
Oh
screen.
yeah.
I'm seeing somebody who looks like Sam Howell um, wow. I mean, I'm so excited.
Wouldn't that be
I'm so
something Sam
excited.
Howell down there celebrating?
I know he's he's like, yes, you didn't pick my the guy who came after me.
Right.
Could I come back on the team? I want to be a
Right.
part of this. Oh man, I tell you, um, you know he is the most well seasoned quarterback I think we could have picked. Um, he we were talking about it before. He played 5 seasons in college. Of course, the COVID season allowed him to play that 5th season.
Yeah.
He's put up great numbers. He's improved every single year. Um, Very good. Like in 22, 17 touchdowns to 3
Yeah.
interceptions. And then 23, he had 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you can't get much closer to that. Um,
Now he's definitely gonna make this team better. I mean, that's for sure. Dual threat, he can throw from the pocket, he can, throw on the run. I mean, he can, extend plays. He's gonna make this team better. He really is. And it's very exciting to see what he can do. Like I said, if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna say Drake May goes to New England. I think
mhm.
he's New England Patriot. And I guess looking ahead real quick, Arizona, I think is the best fit for Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think the dominoes are definitely falling, but definitely be on looking for trades, man. because I think that you very well could see the Commanders trading back into the first round and grab a left tackle. Because I know that there's a lot of smoke around Guyton out of Oklahoma. There's been a
Hmm.
lot of smoke with him within the organization, man. So, if they trade back in, it could be for him. I think Fashanu will be gone by then. I think Joe Aldis definitely be gone by then. So, if they don't trade back in and get Guyton, I think that Morgan, the kid out of Arizona, could definitely be an option. Rosengarten, he was a right tackle in Washington because they had Penix. He could be an option
Hmm.
at right tackle in Washington because I think that if you can come out of the draft with both bookends on your O line, young bookends, I think we could definitely be cooking with oil, man.
Absolutely. I mean, we've done a good job, I think. Well, so far, at least on paper, I feel like we've done a pretty good job with bringing some new guys in for the offensive line for the interior. So, being able to like you said, get those bookends on offense
Yeah.
would really solidify that. And I think honestly, if you're able to get a bunch of guys in there who can prove their worth, uh, I mean, you may be able to see Jane Daniels have an outstanding rookie season.
Oh
He
yeah.
just needs that. He needs that protection up front. He's going to have the running game. He's got talent behind him in the backfield, so he doesn't have to do it all on his own. He's got guys. He's got playmakers. He's got Terry McLaurin. He's got John Dotson. Um, we got Jameson Crowder is very serviceable. So I mean, we got some excellent guys at the wide receiver position. We've got Zach Ertz, who I think can still give us some quality minutes at
Yeah.
tight end. So he's got some weapons. He's got some playmakers, but he doesn't have to do it all on his own. Um,
Yep. Drake May is a New England Patriot. He was
there
just
he is.
selection is in. So right now, Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. I'm looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. But don't be surprised if it's Dallas Turner, the edge from Alabama, because they definitely needed another edge. Let's see. Yeah. So that's 3 quarterbacks in a row. So I guess the question is real quick, who's the next quarterback? I mean, or who you looking at next? Because the big three are out of the way. Are you looking at Penix? Could Penix be the next guy? JJ McCarthy?
I think it's going to be J.J. McCarthy, and
Okay.
I think it's because, like you said, he's pro ready. He led his team to a national championship.
Yeah.
Played under Jim Harbaugh. Um, I just feel like he's going to be the fourth guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, Michael Penix has been dubbed, the best passer out of all these quarterbacks. So, just really depends on, of course, on his health. Can he stay healthy? That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and I
But
know he knows that too, because I know he's put out a
yeah,
couple of posts about his X-rays, and he's good to go. But I'm with you. I think JJ McCarthy, the teams I'm looking at with JJ McCarthy, I think it will be Minnesota or the Giants. Because if I'm the Giants, I'm preparing for the next step after Daniel Jones. Because let's be real, they're just waiting on him to be in a position where they can just go ahead and get rid of his contract, and because they signed him to that crazy extension, so they got to deal with that. But I'm definitely trying to groom the next guy, so you don't have to necessarily throw him into the fire. Because look, New York, man, that's a tough market. They're expecting success there, and obviously they haven't had it with Daniel Jones. So the next guy's gonna have to come in and play good football. So JJ, I think is a really impelling pick because I can see him going to Minnesota. I can see him going to New York. I guess Greg, what do you see as the best fits for Penix? Like, what team do you think has the best structure in place for a left-handed softball quarterback?
that's a very good question because the quarterback needy teams right now don't know if they're built to protect a
Yeah,
left-handed quarterback or not. But I mean, it's kind of like how it was when showing my age when Joe Montana went on and gave the 49ers to um, oh Steve Young.
yep.
I mean, that really wasn't an issue there. I mean, Steve Young being left-handed quarterback. So I don't know. I think it just really all depends on which teams really need a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah,
Minnesota, um, Las Vegas Raiders probably.
yeah.
And of course, the Giants are kind of one of those wild cards with that because, to your point, that huge contract they paid to Daniel Jones, which made him very wide-eyed, and I just like, can they? I mean, I think you still, if you're Giants, I think you still try to get another quarterback.
Oh
I
yeah, I
just
mean, looking at the list, man. I mean, we're at the fourth pick. Arizona's on the clock. So, what teams looking up or coming up need a quarterback? I mean, you say at 6, the Giants, because the Titans at 7, they got one. Let's see, Minnesota at 11. The rumors are they could trade up and get close to get the quarterback. Denver, I know they just got Zach Wilson, but they definitely need to upgrade there. Let's see, Oakland at 13. I can see Penix going to Oakland. I think that could be the best spot for Penix because I think that'd be a good place for him. That's about it because the Saints got a quarterback, the Colts got one. I'm looking down a list of people. Pittsburgh just made a couple trade and a signing. Yeah, I mean those pretty much are the best landing spots for a quarterback in the first round, in my opinion. I mean, I could see Penix going to Oakland or Oakland. Oh man, Las Vegas. I gotta really work on that because
hey,
teams are moving so much, man. I mean,
I think the Raiders are always going to be Oakland to anybody. So
I know, man. I remember when they were in LA. So, I mean, I remember, I still call the Chargers San Diego Chargers sometimes.
Oh,
So,
I will always call them San Diego. I think they should never even moved.
yeah. I never understood that move, man.
I, I don't. I think the fans were highly upset with that. Highly upset.
Yeah.
The pick is in for Arizona. Um,
Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh,
so far, it's like, okay, it's exactly the way the script is,
predictable.
right?
Yeah.
Very predictable. Um, where do we see Bo Nix?
Bo Nix, we didn't bring him up. I think that those 3 teams we named, he could fit in one of those. Because those are 3 teams that need quarterback. And you got Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, and you have Michael Penix. So, I mean, take your pick. I mean, as far as play style and fit, I would say the New York. I can see JJ going to New York or Minnesota. I can see Penix going to, I better say Oakland again, Las Vegas. But Minnesota, I could see Bo Nix going to Minnesota if they miss out on JJ McCarthy. I think Bo Nix could be the guy in Minnesota because, look, Justin Jefferson and the wide receiver core they have, he's got a nice supporting cast, man, to be able to make that transition pretty good. So,
What about Spencer Rattler?
you know what? And I know there was talk about getting 2 quarterbacks. I mean, if we get all our needs out the way, if he's still available, I wouldn't mind because, yeah, he needs to be developed. He's got a lot of work to do, but, you see the potential with him. But I can see him, honestly, 3rd, 4th round. I don't think he's first-round talent. Nothing against Spencer. It's just I definitely think that, he's a quarterback that has high upside, but definitely needs to be developed. Definitely needs some work. But, he's definitely a good prospect. He really is. So, I mean, if we get all the needs out the way, I wouldn't mind grabbing another quarterback.
Well, yeah, in my last mock draft, I picked a quarterback in the 7th round. Now, of course, it
There you go.
wasn't Spencer Rattler, but um, I think what I just remember. Who was it? Adam Peters, I think, saying that we want 2 quarterbacks. We want to
Yeah, yeah.
add, like, we want 4 quarterbacks. Okay, right now, of course, it's Jade Daniels, Marcus Mariota. We got Jake Fromm, and then Driscoll.
Yep.
So that is your 4 right there. So maybe we don't draft another developmental quarterback, but
Yeah.
that's your 4 quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. The Chargers on the clock. Best available would it be Malik Neighbors? I think so too. With them getting rid of Keenan Allen, I think that they need a wide receiver. I think Malik Neighbors is definitely a good fit with the Chargers. But as far as O line, Joe Alt is still available. Fasha New is still available out of Penn State. So there are some teams that need some work on the O line. I mean, I could definitely see Joe Alt or Fasha going to New York because the Jets need they need help on O line massively.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going to um, roll with Aaron Rodgers, older quarterback, you definitely want to make sure you have some protection for him.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
there you go. Um,
See, I'm on Fanatics right now, and me being a sports fan, I'm already looking to get a jersey, but I'm gonna wait till he gets his number, man, because I believe number 5 now is what Tress Way. So we'll see how he.
well, and that's a good point.
Yeah,
Do you think Tressway's going to give up number 5? I mean, Tressway's been a Pro Bowl player
yeah.
for us. I know he's just a punter. I hate saying that, but I mean, the
I
last person to
mean,
wear number 5 as quarterback for us was it Colt Brennan or was it
yeah, yep. It was
yes,
Brennan, and then it was McNabb.
McNabb. So McNabb
Yeah,
was the last one. Um, I mean, I don't like number 6 for some reason. So
I don't either. Number 7 is my number, man. So I mean, I
I
won't be
know,
mad at
and
that.
yeah, and I'm like, I love Drake Daniels, but I think he has to earn number 7. So I'm going to say
Yeah,
don't do number 7.
when it comes to numbers, man, there's been examples over the years. I know that Carson Wentz, when he got traded from the Eagles to Colts, he asked Michael Pittman for his number 11, and Pittman said nah. And then a lot of people were saying, "Look, man, at that point, Carson Wentz was a vet. Was like, you're gonna have to come off that number, man." Like, so we'll see. I mean, with Jaden Daniels, I don't know if he has that leverage to talk to a vet, but like, man, I need that number 5. But I know a lot of them they pay for the numbers, man. So we'll see. Money talks. If the price is right, Tress Wade, man, knowing, because just from seeing him, as far as personality, I don't see why he wouldn't. But we'll see.
Maybe you do like a Sean Taylor thing where his rookie season has to wear another number if he plays really well. If his rookie season he earns number 5 for the
Yeah, yeah.
second year, maybe I don't know. But yeah, that's going to remain to be seen. I think I'm going to hold off. I can't bring myself to purchasing jerseys of young players.
Yeah,
I can't do
I'm
it.
the same way, man. Like they haven't done anything yet. I'm very excited about the pick, but that's why I'm kind of hesitant because, I mean, in my closet, man, I got all kinds of jerseys from the Skins to, I mean, I've got every era of Washington football jerseys. I got some Commanders in there, but mostly I got about 10, 15 Skins jerseys. But I think the only jersey, sports wise, I got a Wizards jersey, Jordan Poole last year, and this was his first year. So I'm glad he had a second half of the year, a better second half of the season, so that kind of justifies the jersey. But yeah, I typically hold back from getting a young guy who hasn't done much. I usually find the guys, because I think the only Commander jersey I got Terry McLaurin. I did get Jahan Dawson. I'm guilty for that, getting him on draft day. But and I got what's his name, man? I can't even think on the defensive tackle. Jonathan Allen. And
Jonathan Allen.
big reason for that. We went to the same high school, so I was kind of showing homage. But
I mean, Allen got signed to another contract. He's
there
been
you
a Pro
go.
Bowler basically. So I mean, like, I can understand that. Like, I would still go and get a Kerrigan jersey. I would still do
Absolutely.
that. I would be okay with that. Um, I would definitely get a Santana Moss. I don't have a Santana Moss jersey. You're sporting
Yes, sir.
yeah. So yeah, there were a lot. I don't know. I just really never bought a lot of jerseys. I got a couple of jerseys for Christmas, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Two Portis jerseys actually,
Nice.
which was funny. I like one you could tell was like a really knockoff, and then the other one was actually like more of a fanatic type of jersey. So, and I still have them. And then 2012, the year that my wife and I got married, she got me. She was going to wait until Chris. No, not Christmas. It was already past Christmas. I think she was going to wait until my birthday, which is in
Uh,
March, to give me the RG3 jersey.
oh,
But I was
nice.
so upset after that playoff loss that she gave it to me after that. And I was kind of like, You know?
Right?
Thank you. You know, but and I still have that one, and I still sport it. I mean, I've worn it on the channel and stuff. I mean, so yeah. But other than that, it's like if I buy jerseys, I like to stick with the classic guys and stuff, which I do kind of appreciate that at least if Fanatics now um, they kind of do kind of a plain jersey for
Yeah, yeah,
like the older guys, which is fine because that's what the jerseys looked like back then.
yeah.
You know, like the white ones, for instance, there was no name on the front; it was just the number and then the stripes on the side. So I'm fine with that. Um, so I think that was better than making all of the jerseys commander jerseys for like
Yeah.
John Riggins and I mean, I think John Riggins was probably the one who kind of pushed for that, and he was like, "No, I am not a commander. I'm a Redskin."
Yeah.
So I'm glad they kind of changed that a little bit. So the pick is in for the Chargers
Joe Alt.
and Joe Alt. So I'm jealous of that one,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I would love to have Joe Alt. Um, and so you kind of thought maybe Neighbors.
Yeah, I mean they need receiver, but like I said, this is a receiver heavy draft, so I mean there's going to be plenty of opportunities for them to get a receiver. But um, right now the Giants on the clock, so you're looking at they could go get receiver. They need receiver, but they're probably going quarterback. And JJ McCarthy looks like he fits best here. I think that this is probably his opportunity. Now, like I said, he's pro ready, so with the whole contract thing with Daniel Jones, that's very does he really need to be developed too much? So we'll see. I mean, that's a shaky situation with New York because, like I said, they still got a guy under contract on an extension. So, but I can see JJ McCarthy fitting here. I can see Malik Neighbors because right now the needs for the Giants: quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, offensive guard, offensive tackle. So you very well could see Fashanu out of Penn State here because they need somebody to protect Daniel Jones. Because who knows? Look, if Daniel Jones has a pretty good year, a lot of those whispers as far as him not being a long-term option could go away. As we all know, one good season changes the minds of a lot of people. So, a left tackle or a guard could fit well for the Giants in protecting his blind side. But
Yeah. So again, folks, my coverage is a little bit behind Brandon's coverage. So, um, which is fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm kind of like, come on, speed this up. I may have to switch to the computer to watch it if the stream is a little bit faster on the website. But
yeah,
yeah,
ESPN works pretty quick for me, man. So, and if you consider ESPN that, because I kind of turn the TV off, I'm looking on ESPN. So we're based off ESPN right now on their draft cast. There's about 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock for the Giants. But that's a good move. That is a good move for the Chargers, man, protecting their quarterback over there. So that's not a bad move.
yeah. Joe Alt, I think he could be a good, solid left tackle for years to come. Um, they got. I mean, they have their quarterback, right? So build that offensive line up.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I preach now. So for me, for the Commanders, I turn all of my attentions toward building up that offensive line and
Yeah.
protecting Jaden Daniels. Um, wide receiver would be nice, and like you said, this draft is pretty deep for wide receivers. So I think we can grab somebody certainly later on in the draft for that. But um, I, to me, this is going to be the first. I think drama. Is that
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say? Because yeah, the Giants. I mean, they pick a quarterback now. I mean, you got to think about your locker room as well. Like, what is that going to do? Because you paid all this money to um, Daniel Jones, and because you basically said you're our franchise guy, and now you may actually draft a quarterback. I mean, what is that? I just, but at the same time, their head coach, I just felt like I just think that he doesn't like Jones. I don't think they have a good relationship with each other.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I'll say this that it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes bringing in another quarterback will light a fire under a quarterback, especially guys already are in contract, because that lets them know that look, you need to get it together because we have a guy who could come in and do your job. So that could be one factor. But like you said, they have him under contract, and I think the best scenario with the Giants is put some talent around him. Their wide receiver group hasn't always been the sexiest group. I mean, so looking at I think Malik Neighbors. Oh, let's see on the clock.
Neighbors got drafted.
Neighbors. Oh, so they got that weapon for Daniel Jones. So I think that's a good move. I definitely
Yeah,
think that's a good move.
yeah. I think overall, I just think that contract with Daniel Jones, I think dictated this pick. I
Yeah,
think it
yeah,
did.
absolutely.
So you're kind of married to Daniel Jones for a while. So if you are, then go out and find him some weapons. And so they've done that. Malik Neighbors now going to the Giants. Not too happy with that,
All
but let's
right.
see. Yeah, let's see how our corners handle Neighbors now in the NFC East. Um, so the Titans are on the clock now. Um, we know they have their quarterback. Um, their running back is gone.
Mhm.
So is there any running backs in the first round that's worth a pick? I haven't really
Not
noticed that.
This is actually not a really high draft on running backs. It really
I don't
isn't.
think
This
you
is
draft a running back in the first round, do you?
I wouldn't if I was them. I mean, if you
Okay.
look at what they need in Tennessee, because they do have some receivers there. They needed a offensive tackle, a defensive tackle, a safety, linebacker, and wide receiver. So as far as wide receivers right now, you have Rome Adunzi out of Washington. He's an option. He's the best fit for them right now, according to ESPN. Now, you got that edge, Dallas Turner out of Alabama. So it depends on how much they want to solidify their defense. But they got to. We often forget they got a young quarterback in Tennessee, so they may need some weapons around him. Because I'm trying to remember what their wide receiver room is because I got a couple names on my mind right now. I got to look at the depth chart, but they got some options. But I mean, Rome Odunze, man, will come in and could be a solid number one and number two for the Titans. Kind of give him some weapons on the outside. So let's see. I'm gonna look up their depth charts real quick. But yeah, they got a young quarterback in Tennessee. Let's see depth
And
chart.
just FYI, everybody, um, no defensive players have been picked yet.
No, that's crazy. Oh, so I'm looking at the depth chart. I mean, receiver wise, you got Calvin Ridley. They got Traylon Burks, who I was thinking of, and they got DeAndre Hopkins. So they may not make a move for receiver in the first round, but with Hopkins being older and same, Calvin really see really what he has left in the tank. They could get a guy in the second or third rounds. So looking at the Titans, because I'm looking at their depth charts. I would, if I was them, I would grab Dallas Turner because looking at their ends, I mean Jeffrey Simmons and Quentin Bahana, because they run a 3-4. I mean, I might go defense. I would probably go Dallas Turner, Alabama.
Well, let's see what happens here. The Titans are on the clock. I feel like my stream is getting slower. So I did what you did. I went to ESPN, so I'm looking at it on ESPN. But yeah, so I mean, it sounds like the Titans are okay at wide receiver. So um, defense definitely. Um, I have a feeling they'll probably look at running back later on in
Yeah,
uh, third round, maybe second, third, fourth round. It seems like whenever I was doing the mock drafts, more of the running backs were like in those middle rounds, and it
yeah.
was almost like every single time I picked, there was a running back.
Well, I'll
So
tell you what. I mean, they got Tony Pollard. He should be good for a couple years, and they got an intriguing running back in Tajay Spears. So, like I said, I would if I was Tennessee, I would still grab a young running back in the middle rounds. But looking at the makeup of their roster, I mean, they don't necessarily need to go edge because I can see Atlanta is in desperate need of a corner and an edge. So, I mean, Tennessee, they're in a good spot. They're kind of like us, man. I mean, Will Levis is a nice young quarterback, and they got the weapons to see tight end. They probably need tight end. So not a bad. They got a nice young roster. So where would I go? They could go tackle. The pick is in because I know the kid out of Penn State. They've several mock drafts have had him going to Tennessee, protecting the blind side of Levis.
I'm patiently looking at ESPN.
I know ESPN is just a teaser, man, because you'll have the pick is in for about 5 minutes, and you're like, "What's the pick? What's the
I know,
pick?"
I, I know. They're still showing the Titans is on the clock, but I've given up on the stream here. I mean, it's fine, but it's way behind. Um, but then again, I mean, if we were not streaming, I'd be okay with that. Um, Funny thing is, all right, so I have a Patriots fan who was texting me,
Uh,
and he was kind of hoping that he said he hopes the Pats trade down. Of course, they wound up picking Drake May, and he's like, I get it, got to roll the dice on franchise quarterback. Um, so he says, I like his measurables upside for sure. It's always a coin toss with high first round quarterbacks. Um, and of course that's true. I just could not see New England being led by Jacoby Brissett for the
yeah,
entire season. Now he may start as the quarterback,
yeah,
and it may be good for the Patriots to start Jacoby Brissett and let him play half a season until Drake May is ready. I mean, because there's been a lot of folks who have said that Drake May should not start right away. He's
yeah.
got a higher ceiling, but he should probably not start right away. So you've got a fantastic backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett that could really, you know, win you a few games at least, and then eventually you're going to lead the way to uh, Drake May. So I think Drake May's going to have a good. I think once that he gets his feet under him, and once he's solidified that starting position, I think he's going to have. I think he's going to have a good career in New England.
I think so too. I do. Like you said, I can see a scenario where Jacoby Brissett starts at least for half a season, the first year. I think it really behooves the Patriots to take your time with Drake May, develop him right, get everything he needs around him, and then go from there. So I can see Jacoby Brissett because look, from our standpoint from last year, we saw a difference when he came in for Sam Howell. And there's nothing against Sam Howell. Whole nother conversation about how much he had to throw the ball last year, but they came in and he a nice change of pace, so he can start, and he can come in year one start and then give Drake May a year, and then I think Drake May because overall long term. I think that Drake May is number one, in my opinion, as far as his long term. And then against Jay Daniels, I think Jay Daniels is going to be a heck of a quarterback in the NFL and a franchise quarterback for for our team, man. But I mean, him, JJ, and Drake May, I think all of them are going to have pretty good careers because they have the intangibles. And this is probably one of the better quarterback drafts we've seen in a long time because you got so many guys who can come in and be that franchise guy. I'm very high on Bo Nix, and I like Michael Penix, so I think with the right fit and the right location, they very well could have pretty good careers, in my opinion, too. So I mean, I forget who said it, but somebody said that if you look at every draft, man, there's usually one or two of them that are end up being busts, and you don't want to really look at this draft and say, oh, I hope this, but it all comes down to fit, right system, right fit, the right situation, and I think that with James Daniels, he's in the right situation. He's got the weapons, he's got the coach, he's got the GM, he's got the ownership, he's got everything put in place for him to be the next guy. So, looking at Drake May, same thing. I think that he's going to flourish in New England, in my opinion.
And you're exactly right about giving Levis some protection. Um, the Tennessee Titans have drafted offensive tackle Latham.
Yep, yep. Oh, that's a good move. Good move. Because I mean, he's a young quarterback who needs protection. That blind side is gonna be in good hands with J.C. Latham, man. Who on the clock? We got the Falcons. So the Falcons, you can see Dallas Turner going. They need an edge, so you can definitely see him going there. But Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo could be a good fit for the Falcons too, because they definitely need a corner. But looking ahead a little bit, Chicago's back on it at 9. And they already got the quarterback. So wide receiver wise, you could see when the receivers come off the board. Let's see what else they need. Defensive tackle. Offensive. Oh man, for Fashanu, man, look, he could if he's not picked at 9. I'm making that move if I'm the Bears. Definitely want to solidify that blind side for Caleb Williams, man. I could see the kid out of Penn State being number 9.
It's going to be interesting because if you don't pick him up at 9, then you have who is it? Is it the Jets at 10?
You have the Jets at 10, and they definitely need a left tackle. And then we have the Vikings at 11, which I know they're going QB.
Yeah. So yeah, you start to wonder with the Commanders. Do they start to get antsy and try to figure out a way to? I mean, could they even trade back into the first round that high up?
I could see them probably being in the 20 to 25 range as far as trading back into the first round. Because right now, you've seen how many left tackles off the board. I mean, Latham was a good. I mean, there's still a lot of good prospects for left tackle, especially in the second round and the late first. So I think we'll be all right. But I mean, we definitely need to show that up, man. I mean, like I said, I definitely take a look out for Guyton out of Oklahoma. Let's see. I'm gonna try to look at the positions real quick. Let's take a look at the left tackle because I know Joe Alt is gone, Latham's gone, so there's still a lot of good prospects at left tackle. So we should be fine. But if I'm Chicago, I'm going left tackle, easy. And the Jets, I mean, you kind of said the same thing with the Jets. They need a left tackle. So I mean, you're probably looking at the Jets and the Bears taking another couple of linemen out, off the board.
So the Vikings, I believe, are at 11, right? So
Oh, yeah.
so it almost feels like it's getting set up perfectly for JJ McCarthy to go
Yep.
to the Vikings.
That's what it's looking like. I think that's the best. That's a really good fit because he's going to be able to come in and he knows how to run a pro style offense. Plus, who wouldn't want to throw to Justin Jefferson? I'm just saying, like, I mean, dynamic talent at wide receiver, and I mean the rest of the wide receiver room is not too bad, man. So he's coming into a good situation. Running back wise, I believe they have running back. Who do they pick up within the division?
Oh Lord.
Because I know Aaron Jones went to Chicago, right? Oh, no. No, it was DeAndre Swift went to Chicago, and who went to Minnesota? Because they just picked up a new lead back.
Oh, I'm gonna
I
have to go
know.
back and look at the free agent
Yeah, I know. I'm having a
situation.
massive brain fart right now. Let's see, depth charts, running back. Yep, Aaron Jones. So they got they got a solidified veteran running back. So they got a nice team because I mean you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Brennan Powell. So N'Keal Harry is intriguing, but they could definitely add another receiver to the group. But that's a nice situation for JJ. So I think that JJ is definitely picked for Minnesota.
Well, we'll see what happens at 9 and 10. I mean, of course, we know that the Bears are not picking a quarterback at 9. So, yeah, I think you're right, though. I think the Bears are going to wind up picking protection, um,
Yeah,
and we'll see what Atlanta picks up. I'm still patiently waiting
I
for
know.
that.
Gotta love
Um,
it.
I feel like they purposely tell some of these teams in the top 10 to slow things down. We got 3 hours. And just to let you know, folks, I don't know if we'll be on live for 3 hours. I think just until one of us start to get tired because I got to get up early the next day. But, I would at least like to kind of hang on just to see if there's a chance that the Commanders could trade back into the first
Yeah.
round. But, you know, the more that these offensive tackles and linemen start to fall off the board, um, I start to think that they may be okay kind of staying pat and,
Yeah.
keeping those draft picks. So we'll see. The pick is in for Atlanta, and it's Penix Jr. Michael Penix.
Whoa!
That is the first
Wow!
surprise. That is the first surprise of the draft.
Wow! Especially you just signed Kirk Cousins. Yeah, uh, I mean, yeah, that's a big surprise. I don't see it, man. I thought they would have went Dallas Turner or cornerback. That's a big surprise. But I mean, if you want to develop them for life after Kirk Cousins, I get it. But I just feel like they have other needs, man.
I Derlu says he didn't expect that. I didn't expect that either. I really thought that,
Yeah,
like you said, I thought that maybe Penix would go to more of a quarterback needy team. I don't really call the Falcons a quarterback needy team, but you
nah,
know what? They're saying we want to solidify our future at quarterback. So we got Kirk Cousins for right now, and he could be a good mentor for Penix. Penix doesn't have to start right away, and so um, you have Cousins for a few years. You give way to Michael Penix,
yeah.
so you kind of keep the train rolling. So I think it's a good move. I'm just very surprised. I'm very surprised at that.
Yeah, same here. I just feel like they had other needs, man, and they had quality talent at those needs, man. Dallas Turner, cornerback. So we'll see. On the clock is the Bears. I definitely see them getting a left tackle, but you very well compare Dallas Turner with the former commander on the D line. So we'll see because they have their fair share of needs.
I mean, if they want to give us Montez Sweat back, I will not be
Right.
upset with
I
that.
know. I mean, but yeah, honestly, looking at it, Montez Sweat with Dallas Turner, that's a nice bookends, man, on the defensive line, man. So they're making good moves in Chicago. I just
I
hope,
mean,
I just wish they would have made these moves when he still had the previous quarterback, man, because I feel like they really didn't provide him the best opportunities, man. But right now, as far as Caleb Williams and his era, they're making all the right moves, in my opinion. But right now, this pick right here is pivotal. And it's probably just as important as the first one, man, because they, like I said, they have needs. I mean, they need a receiver, they need a defensive tackle, they need an edge, and they need a left tackle. So they need a lot.
yeah, yeah. So Chicago's on the clock.
Uh-oh.
We'll see who they get.
Michael Penix, though.
I mean, I
That's
am shocked by
wow.
that. Shocked. Um, I wonder what Kirk Cousins is thinking right now. He's like, wait a minute, you paid me this That's the
I
other
know.
thing. This mega contract,
Yeah,
and
I don't see the fit, man. But one thing's for sure, he's not saying you like that. I don't know if he likes it.
he don't like that. He does not like that at all. Um, which is probably the reason why that he makes sure that most of his contract is, if not all, is guaranteed money.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Smart. I mean,
you
it's
know
smart. I mean,
it's it's smart, but I mean, the Falcons are saying we're looking at the future. Kirk Cousins, he's in his mid 30s,
yeah,
so mid to late 30s. So we know we're not going to have him for a few years. So we're going to pick up Michael Penix. He doesn't have to start right away.
yeah,
So I mean, I can see it from there, but
yeah. And it gives them time to kind of reconstrue the line to the needs of Michael Penix, long term. So I get it. I just felt like they had more glaring needs as far as the immediate, now needs as opposed to the future. And I feel like they could have still got that quarterback later in the draft, in my opinion. But I get it.
I mean, folks, what do you what do you think of that? I think that was probably the first shocker of the the NFL draft, especially in the
Yeah.
first round. Um, which means now for the
Oh,
Broncos.
they went
Oh,
receiver. Uh,
okay.
Rome Odunze out of Washington, so they needed a receiver. So
Yes.
you pair him with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. That's not a bad receiving core.
So now Caleb Williams has a full deck of, you know, weapons at his disposal.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is pretty good move. Um, so now the interesting thing with the Vikings now, are they going to pick up JJ McCarthy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now it's JJ. I mean, he's been on their radar for a month or so. Yeah, I'll be very surprised if it's not JJ McCarthy. I'll be honest with you. I think that JJ's the guy here, right here. He can immediately come in and he immediately fits into this what this team's trying to do.
So what about the Broncos at 12?
Oh, I mean, they need quarterback. They need
Mm-hmm.
quarterback badly. So, I mean, if JJ goes to Minnesota, Jets don't need a quarterback. I'm looking at, man, Bo Nix. I can see Bo Nix going to Denver.
And that's pretty much the last of the what I consider the top tierish
Yeah, yeah,
quarterbacks.
yeah. That'll be it.
So yeah, Bo Nix though. I mean, I know a lot of people and um, a lot of articles I was reading, a lot of talking heads said, Bo Nix will be better pick in the second round. He'll be a
Mhm.
solid backup. I was reading a lot of that. He may get picked in the first round. Do you think it's going to be a reach?
I think talent wise, no. If you're drafting on talent, and if you look at, do they start Zach Wilson for a year and let Bo Nix kind of develop? I can see that because right now, Denver is in the transition. I mean, they made a couple trades. Russell Wilson's not there anymore, so they look more and more like a rebuilding team. So adding young pieces, I can definitely see that. So I mean, you probably could see Zach Wilson for a year because I think that's a big reason why they brought him over from the Jets to see if a change of scenery and a change of system would help. But I think he fits well in Denver. They definitely need a long-term answer at quarterback. So I think that would be like a really good move. And there's really not a need to start him right away. You know what I mean? You have Zach Wilson, which I get a lot of people are down on Zach Wilson. I do truly believe that is a system thing. You expected Zach Wilson to give you the same results as Aaron Rodgers with the same lackluster, team. It's just I didn't really think they gave him enough. So I think that Zach Wilson does have the intangibles. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say he's gonna be an all pro, but I mean I think a change of scenery is gonna do well for Zach Wilson, man. Because New York, as we all know, man, New York's a tough place to play. Vikings and Jets trade. Ooh, so if
Well,
the Jets, yeah. But I don't know
oh
why they would trade
yes,
up because they don't need quarterback, and you can still get
that
whatever you need to pick after.
that is very interesting. Thought they thought that the Jets would pick JJ McCarthy because I mean Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be on the team for
Yeah,
too much longer. I mean, he's like what 39 on 40.
yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, he could probably play a couple of more years, but um, I guess they really felt that the Jets could pick JJ McCarthy. So I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point that the Jets are going to pick JJ McCarthy.
Oh man, I mean that's good logic though, because like you said, Aaron Rodgers ain't gonna be around forever. You're looking at one, maybe two more years. His body, you're starting to see already. Um, let's see. Warhawk Rambo says, "I am cautiously optimistic of Jaden Daniels." Yeah, I can see that because with the comment right there, we've been burned here before. I'll say this: the reason why I'm optimistic is because look at all the other factors that makes this a really good pick. New owner is key. You got a legit owner. Not some cornball up there who just I'm not gonna get on it. You got a GM, a legit GM. You have a good coaching staff. So I think we have all the pieces in place that makes this a kind of a different scenario as opposed to RG3 because we didn't have everything we needed when it came to RG3 and surrounding him with talent and all the intangibles, the O line. Um, I think this is a good situation for Jay Daniels. Now, I mean, here's the biggest scenario, or not the scenario, but the biggest thing or biggest point. He's got a lot of work as far as him individually. Look, the number 2 pick, man. That especially coming to a new situation where, look, you are the guy. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him, man. Especially chemistry wise. Definitely assimilated with Terry McLaurin. Definitely, Jahan Dawson, and it's gonna be interesting to see who else we add as far as wide receiver because right now is De'Ami Brown's number 3, so it's between him and Brian Pringle. So are you really satisfied having Brian Pringle or De'Ami Brown's number 3? I still stand by the fact that I think that Jahan Dawson is best served as a slot. I still think we need to go find a bigger, more physical receiver opposite of Terry McLaurin to kind of take a lot of pressure off him. So
Yeah, and I think Jahan Dotson and Jameson Crowder, they're both slot receivers.
oh,
As far as their
Crowder, yeah.
size.
He was a slot receiver for us for a long time. So I
Yes,
mean, we've been there and done that with him already. So I think that he could come in and do the same job, but he's getting older. I think he's best served special teams. He can't come in and play receiver if need be, but go find that bigger receiver for Terry because we got to take some pressure off Terry, man. We really do.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, they're going to a commercial on my slow stream, which means they're probably already back um, on TV. But I'm still looking at ESPN right now. It still shows the Vikings are on the clock. Um, but I think we're just delaying the obvious.
Yeah.
Um, they're going to pick a quarterback. The Jets kind of remains, I'm not quite sure on the Jets. Um, and yeah,
Yes.
we've always said we can lose every single game, but as long as we beat the Cowboys twice, then
That's it.
we're fine. Yeah,
I used to call them the cowgirls, but cow pies. That's nice.
cow
I'm gonna use
pies.
that. Hey, I'm gonna use that. I like that.
I think that's better because honestly, the cheerleaders are kind of hot. So um, but yeah, the cow pies. I think that fits them much better. I think that
Oh,
fits them much
absolutely,
better.
absolutely.
And the Cowboys really didn't make a lot of huge moves in free agency. So let's see what they do in the draft as well.
Yeah,
That's the thing with Jerry Jones. He always seems to be able to build a pretty good team,
yeah,
but a team that could just never really get over the hump. And I know Cowboys fans in general, they're really getting, um, you know, tired of that. It's like, how many times can you get so close and yet be so far away? It's like they do everything right. They have, um, they have great receivers. They have a decent quarterback.
yeah.
Defense is great. I agree. We are on the way up, and they're on
Absolutely.
the way down. We'll have to see if they are on the way down. Let's see how their defense is because we know their defense is probably going to suffer a little bit with Dan Quinn being gone.
Yeah,
He really put that. I mean, he built a great defense there in Dallas. Let's not sugarcoat that. Now, I don't like the Cowboys, but I respect what they've built there. So let's see if they can continue that as far as um, their defense goes. But I don't know. Remains to be seen. Every time I think that any of the NFC East foes are on their way down, they totally surprise me. I felt that when the Eagles first made the playoffs under Nick Sirianni a few years ago, I thought, yeah, he's going to be good enough to get him into the wild card, but that's it. He can't coach in the postseason, and then he got him to the Super Bowl. So
yeah.
who knows? Who knows?
I, I think one thing to look at is that when you look at the Eagles and look at the Cowboys, we they're able to make these certain moves at the right time in the middle of the season. You look at the AJ Brown trade for the Philly. We have a legit GM now, so we're going to be able to find those diamond in the rough moves because look at the time. AJ Brown from Tennessee was a good move. That was a move they needed in Philly. So just finding those diamond in the rough, those certain moves to make. I think we'll be able to do that to kind of compete. I think we're best started to compete in the NFC East now than we were last year or even 5 years ago because we have that think tank in the front office. Having a legit GM in the front office is so key. So let's see.
Yes.
Did the pick ever? Oh, okay.
The
JJ
pick is
McCarthy.
in.
JJ McCarthy.
Yes.
That's it.
Foregone conclusion, right? I mean, yeah, J.J. McCarthy to the Vikings. It just made too much sense. So they get their replacement for Kirk Cousins. And I think that's a great move for the Vikings. I think he can
Oh,
have a pretty good career with the Vikings. You have a head coach who has been a former quarterback coach. He knows how to develop guys, so that's a good thing for Minnesota. So good move, very good move for the Vikings.
oh, absolutely.
Um,
Beautiful
yeah,
move by the Vikings, man. I guess looking forward, the Jets on the clock. They need tackle, so I can see tackle. They need receiver, need tight end. So I can see two options here. I can see Brock Bowers. They need a tackle, they need weapons. But I could also see Fashanu out of Penn State. They need that left tackle to protect the blind side of Aaron Rodgers, man. So those are kind of the two I'm looking at as far as the Jets. Now, looking forward, we have the Jets next at 12. We have Denver, so definitely looking at quarterback. You can say the same thing about Las Vegas. But once you hit 14 and 15, it's all up in the air, man. Because
yeah. After Vegas, then it's really going to be interesting to see what these teams pick. Will they just pick best player available at that point?
yeah,
Um, so um,
the pick is in. That was quick. Well, they had that whole commercial, so I mean, they gave some time to think about it.
I mean, I think they knew that with the Vikings trading up to 10, they're like, okay, they're picking the quarterback, so we
Yeah.
already know who we're going to pick. And, they're able to pick up, some better draft picks from the Vikings. So it's a good move for the Jets, definitely for sure. So, yeah, let's see what the Jets are going to do here.
I'm still tripping about Penix, man.
I am.
That's wild. I just
Folks, if you've been under a rock for the last half an hour or so, um, Michael Penix got picked by the Atlanta Falcons.
yeah.
None of us felt that the Falcons would grab a quarterback. And I have a friend at work who is a big Atlanta Falcons fan, so I can't wait to ask him about this tomorrow. He's
Oh
working
yeah.
tomorrow, I believe, so I'm going to ask him about this and see what is his thoughts, because he wasn't very happy about the Kirk Cousins thing and all of that money. He really, honestly, he wanted Jaden Daniels, uh,
Oh
and I was like, at that time, I felt that Drake May was a solid number two, and Jaden Daniels is going to be later on.
yeah.
But when things kind of changed, uh, yeah, obviously now we're getting Jaden Daniels, so let's see what he thinks about Michael Penix. Um,
What is it about Atlanta with those southpaw quarterbacks? You know, because
Michael Vick, yeah, I'm I'm a southpaw myself, so I love left-handed quarterbacks. Because they just change everything.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
the trajectory of the passes, just everything is different. Um, so yeah, I mean, oh well, guess what? The Jets took
I
our
see.
other
There you go.
offensive tackle. Yeah,
I should have put some money on these picks, man.
you should have. You really should have. Oh, I have no money to put on anything, so I would owe everybody steak dinners.
But that's a good move,
Oh,
man. I mean,
it
that's a
is.
long-term move for the Jets. They need a left tackle. They need a franchise left tackle. So that's a good move for them, man.
I'm sure that Aaron Rodgers is really thanking the Jets brass for this move.
Oh, absolutely.
So protecting his blind side, that's going to be great for Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, I'm jealous of that pick because many felt that Fashanu. I am never going to pronounce his. I tried. I even practiced his name earlier today and still didn't get it right. But I think a lot felt that he was better than Joe Alt.
Yeah, yeah.
That he may be a better solid offensive tackle than Joe Alt. Um, so now the Broncos are on the clock. So
Uh-oh. Bo
could it be
Nix?
that Bo Nix? Um, yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Or does Sean Payton put all of his eggs in one basket and really get behind Zach Wilson? I mean,
I mean,
you can still
yeah.
get Bo Nix.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like I said earlier, I try to look at everything from different perspectives, man. Zach Wilson's still a young quarterback. He's got the intangibles. There's a reason why they picked him in the position they did. I mean, in the right system and they put all the right pieces around him, you know, from a scouting standpoint, they might see something as far as a fit in Denver that a lot of people don't see. Because like I said, New York, man, it's hard to play in New York. It's hard to win in New York. The media is always on you. I mean, it's tough to play in New York, just like Philadelphia. Can you imagine? I mean, you seen how many times the fans kind of went up and down with Jalen Hurts, man. They hated him, they love him, they hate him. So, I mean, it's tough in New York. So, for him going from the New York media to a place like Denver, where it's a slower pace, in an environment where you got a coach who's proven he's a winner, they put all the right pieces. Who knows? They might see Zach Wilson as a long-term option. You just never know. But they say one
Yeah,
man's trash could be another man's treasure.
exactly. I mean, how many times have we seen it over the last few decades where you have quarterbacks who you feel like, yeah, they're bust, they're going to be journeymen at
Yeah.
best, and then they kind of catch on with, the right coach, the right team, and then suddenly they become one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I'm thinking
Jared
about
Goff. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, Rich Gannon
Yeah. Yeah.
years ago. Rich didn't start off all that great in his career, and then he went to the Super Bowl with the Raiders, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean he really turned his career around. So Zach Wilson, I agree with you. I think playing in some of those cities like New York,
Yeah.
um, Washington, Philadelphia. To me, those are the three toughest places to play. Well, Dallas probably could be, but
Yeah. Yeah.
out of that, I think those are the toughest places to play as a quarterback. You
Oh
are
man.
under a microscope.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so tough, man. Ask Gus Farad, man. I mean, it was so tough he had to run his head into a wall. So, I mean,
He's like, I'm taking myself out of this ball game.
right?
Thank you very much. Oh man, some players just don't mess with some, or I think he meant mesh with
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
coaches' systems as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. I think just, and that's the other thing too. Sometimes you have certain coaches that are not willing to, um, mold their system around the talent that they have.
Oh yeah.
And when you have coaches like that, it makes things a lot harder in my opinion. Yes, yeah, it makes it a lot harder to really get things right. Because unless that you have the exact talent to plug into that system, um, you just gotta, as a coaching staff, I think you got to be able to, be a little bit fluid in how your system works, see what your talent is,
Hmm.
and build your system around that talent. I'm
Oh yeah.
hoping that's what Cliff Kingsbury does. We'll see. He doesn't have to worry about being a head coach. All he has to worry about is being a good offensive coordinator. And so I feel like what they're doing is, it sounds like they're trying to build a particular type of offense that's going to be emphasis on the running game, but also emphasis on having a mobile quarterback who has a great arm, and Jaden Daniels fits all of that.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think he's the perfect pick. Honestly, now you look back on it, he's a perfect pick for the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with everything you said. I think he's going to come in and he's going to do a heck of a job in the nation's capital, man. Because we still have a relatively young team. We really do. I mean, we have some vets. Covering the Wizards this year, man. I can't stress enough how much veteran leadership means to a young team. And Bobby Wagner, bringing in guys like that for the defense was key. And on the offensive side, I think that Marcus Mariota is really going to be able to work with Jaden Daniels, get him set and get him ready to go. So I think everything's in place, man. I think we really have a good situation going forward. You finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that we're starting to build something that could be a sustainable winner for years to come, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
what they're doing, they're bringing these guys in, and to build the culture. And once they've built the great culture in Washington, then eventually, I mean, these players are coming in for one or 2 seasons,
Oh yeah,
and they're going to be able to build through the draft in the next couple of years to bring in a younger group of guys who's already going to come in. The culture is established. It's going to be the Commanders' way, right? Just like the
absolutely.
Patriots' way. So definitely, Bo Nix is going to Denver. So I think that was a good move.
Oh, see, look, man, I should have started betting on the draft picks, man. I've been money today, except for Michael Penix, man. I've been pretty on point. I mean,
I
it's
think
just
you and I have been on it, yeah. Except for
absolutely,
Penix, you and I have pretty much been on it the whole time.
yeah. Penix just
So
Yeah, I think Penix kind of shocked everybody, man. I just didn't see that happen. I mean, I get it. I just don't. I didn't see that happen, man. I honestly saw him going to Las Vegas, which is going to be, that's really intriguing to see what they do because they need a quarterback. And right now, I mean, like you said, that's the last big name quarterback prospect of the draft. So
yeah, I mean, now the rest of the quarterbacks are going to be, uh, third, fourth round talent, fifth,
yeah,
sixth, seventh. So basically, a lot of guys who are going to be more of your developmental quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, practice squad guys. So, um, and so is the Raiders rolling with? Did they pick up anybody in free agency, or are they rolling with the guy who um, ended? I guess they ended their season with the
yeah.
rookie.
Let me check out their depth chart, and I'm gonna take a look at the NFL prospects too. Looking at their depth chart for the Las Vegas Raiders, I keep want to say Oakland. They have Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. So Gardner Minshew, and to a certain degree, Aiden McConnell are guys who I guess can start for a year, but neither one of them are long-term prospects as far as being a franchise quarterback. And looking at the NFL draft prospect list for quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is gone, Drake May's gone, Daniel's gone, McCarthy's gone, Bo Nix is gone, and Penix. I mean, Spencer Rattler is your next option. After
Yeah,
that, it's Michael Pratt from Tulane, Jordan Travis from Florida State, and Gavin Hardison from UTEP, which is crazy. UTEP because my second duty station Army was Fort Bliss, man. So I remember going to UTEP games, but that's it, man. And really, I don't see any of these guys who can really be right now a franchise guy. Now, I mean, Spencer Rattler needs work. Now he has high potential, and like I said, looking at their depth chart, Aiden O'Connell can start for a year. You can see the same thing with Gardner Minshew. He has starting experience, so maybe they go Spencer Rattler. But I think right now it's a little high for Spencer Rattler. I mean, by all means, make the move, but you know, let's look at what they need so far. I mean, outside of quarterback, they need a corner. So you very well could see Quinion Mitchell. You could see Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry would be a really good move for them. Um, like everybody else on offensive tackle, offensive guard, and running back. So
and yet, folks, no defensive players.
I know, man. That's wild because you still got Dallas Turner on there, man. I mean, that guy's graded 93. So I mean, he's definitely a guy who can come in and be a starter. So who knows?
And Lau
Because I know,
says 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 is wild.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we kind of knew that, man. I mean, this was like a really deep draft for quarterback, the deepest in a long time. So it is definitely wild.
I would not have picked Bo Nix to be drafted that high, to be honest with you, but. And Brock Bowers is going to the Raiders.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a nice target. I mean, they needed, a nice big target, man. I mean, the 6'3", 243 pounds. I mean, the kid can play. So that's not a bad move if you're trying to put, a lot more weapons around Aiden O'Connell. Because right now it looks like that's your starting quarterback, man. So, it's going to be interesting to see what Antonio Pierce and company does in Las Vegas, man. Because I keep want to say Oakland. Las Vegas. I keep want to say Oakland, man. But good
Wow.
moves.
So Brock Bowers, we knew that he would probably be drafted somewhere within the top 15. So he
Yeah.
goes to the Raiders. And now the Saints are on the clock. Do you know what the Saints, what did they have as far as needs? Um,
From what I see is offensive tackle, defensive tackle, a quarterback. Lord, it seems like almost every team needs a quarterback. Offensive guard and wide receiver. So looking at potential fits, Byron Murphy II out of Texas, he'll be a good fit as far as defensive tackle. And of course, the best available is going to be Dallas Turner because right now, I mean, for some reason, teams just ain't thinking about defense right now. But those are a couple options right there. Now, as far as offensive tackle, you can see Guyton out of Oklahoma. Even though, I mean, at 14, would that be high? Maybe not, because right now left tackles are moving, man. I mean, Alt's
yeah.
gone, Fashanu's gone, Latham's gone. So I think you bring up a good point, but it's kind of like when you lose, you win to a certain degree because you see left tackles getting off the board. So as with the Commanders, you're like, oh man, do I make that move to get back in the first round? But then with a lot of them coming off the board, you don't see a lot of corners coming off the board. So maybe we did the video where talked about Kool-Aid McKinstry maybe dropping out of the first round, man. I mean, and we still got ways to go because we're about to hit the midway point in the first round, but things can change because we both of us are pretty right on up to Michael Penix, and that kind of just threw everybody for a loop. But I think we were pretty right on up to that point. But right now with New Orleans, I would say this would probably be your first defensive pick.
I think so too. Yeah, everything seemed pretty. I guess I don't know, predictable.
Yeah,
Aside from the Penix pick, everything seemed pretty predictable up until this point, and I think now we're starting to get into the territory where it's like I'm really not sure who these teams are going to pick. Because provided I don't keep up with every single team in the NFL, so I don't always know what they need. Um, just like, I mean, I can say the Colts don't need a quarterback, obviously. They got Richardson, who hopefully was going to come back and have a good sophomore season.
yeah.
The Saints, they still have, as far as quarterback,
Carr.
Carr. Yeah,
And they do
from
they
the
still have
Raiders.
what's his name?
Do they?
What the floor?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Um, God,
I
folks,
can't think
it's
of him right now.
yeah.
But
Um,
I believe they still have him, right?
I
Jameis Winston.
believe
There you go.
so. Jameis Winston. I believe they still have Jameis. I thought he was a free agent, so I'm not quite sure.
Let's,
But
let's check it out. Let's see. Yeah, well, they have Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, who he's kind of a Swiss Army knife.
mhm.
Nathan Peterman and Kellen Mond. Guy that was
Okay,
drafted by
so
Minnesota not too long ago. Yeah,
I thought that Jameis Winston was a free agent this year. Um, so yeah, I mean they're still okay at quarterback. Um, and of course, we know that Seattle has Geno Smith and
yeah.
Sam Howell. Um, So basically, these next three picks, maybe we're seeing defense, maybe defense, wide receiver, um, possibly. I do want to see some of these defensive guys
Yeah.
start to get picked. Um, but if Kool Aid wants to fall off into the second round, I'm okay with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Come on home. Come on home to DC. Come on. We
that's right.
definitely need you.
That is right. But as well, I feel like I just feel like we're going to see a better, uh, some better play out of Benjamin St. Juice and Emmanuel Forbes this
Yeah.
year. I think you're going to have better coaching. I think they're going to be able to put these guys in better situations to win. And so maybe we won't be as hard up on corners what we think we need. I know we need to replace. I guess we need to replace Fuller, but um, I, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn is going to be a part of that, and that he brought in Joe Witt Jr. So he's going to be heavily involved in the defense. He's going to make sure that defense is hitting on all cylinders.
Oh yeah.
So I think the draft is really going to tell us how much confidence they have in our corners. So especially if they're picking somebody high,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
first couple of rounds.
I mean, if I'm Emmanuel Forbes, I'm going to be in Daryl Green's ear as many opportunities as I can, because definitely with them retiring his number, you're going to see him be a lot more involved with the organization. That's one guy I would talk to. I would definitely go out of my way to talk to Daryl Green, man, and definitely get as much information I can out of him, because I mean, you see the potential with Emmanuel Forbes. Obviously Christian Gonzalez at the time was the better option, but we went Forbes, ball hawk out of the SEC. I mean, you see the potential. It's just he's. I think the biggest thing to me is you have to gain. He has to add a little bit of weight to be able to make those tackles and be able to roll with those bigger receivers. But how much weight do you pack on him to where it doesn't become a detriment to his speed? You know what I mean? So that's one thing to look at. But I think he's going to be all right. He needs development, and he needs somebody to work with him. But I think he's going to be all right. I definitely see the potential in him. I think he could potentially be a number one down the line, or be a really good high upside number two. St. Juice to me is a wild card, because I think he's better as a third corner, as a slot corner. And but then you brought up a good point. Coaching staffs, they could get stuff out of players that other coaching staffs couldn't. Looking at Jack Del Rio, we know what his shortcomings was, and he wasn't like a historically bad coach, because he's a track record, former head coach, but he wasn't right for what we had in DC. I'll say that. I don't think he was a bad coach. He didn't fit here in DC. Joe Witt, I think he comes into a situation where he's going to be able to get a lot of guys ready. Get them ready to be a dog defense, man, because we need a defense, man, is going to make it tough for teams coming in to FedEx or whatever we're called. And because it used to be Washington was a hard place to win. Now we're outnumbered every home game, so we got to change that narrative, man. And I think that starts with the defense. And I think that we're going to be all right, though. I think we're going to be just fine.
I agree. I agree. So the pick is in for the Saints,
Yes, sir.
and ESPN will hopefully tell us right away what that pick is going to be. Because folks, we can't go to commercial break, not like ESPN. But if you
No.
do want to go to our partners as far as commercials, you can always visit the link down the bottom. It is Mint Mobile. Um, if you want to save a lot of money on your cell phone bill, new customers, you get $15 a month for unlimited data, unlimited everything. That's pretty cheap. That is pretty cheap, and it's for the first 3 months. So you really want to check that out. Um, Another offensive tackle has been picked for the Saints.
Oh,
Um,
Talisi Fuega.
I'm glad that you said it because I would have never. What happened to the days of Smith and Jones and so yeah, another offensive tackle off the board. So yet No defensive players. Will the first
Man,
defensive player be picked at number 15? Wow. So the Indianapolis Colts, one of my workmates, that is his team. So I know that he's watching right now. He's real excited to see who his Colts are going to pick. So let's see who they go with. Um,
I'm gonna say, and I know I said this the last round, Lord, but I think this is a good scenario for them to get Dallas Turner. I think Dallas Turner could fit in Indy, man. Because I thought that Brock Bowers would have been a good target for the Colts because they need a really big tight end over, and because they got Michael Pittman Jr. at wide receiver, they need a good tight end. But I can see Dallas Turner being the pick here. Now their needs are tight end, cornerback, safety, wide receiver, and edge. So take your pick when it comes to the Colts. But man, like you said, I mean Anthony Richardson, I'm intrigued to see how good he can be because I liked him. I think he can be a really good quarterback. I see a lot. He needs to work on with the passing, which is not broken, just kind of fine tune his passing. He's a guy who can run, but I think he's good. He's definitely a good fit in Indy with what they're trying to do. So it's going to be intriguing to see how they go with this draft, though.
yeah. I'm just curious as far as hopefully if his health holds up.
Yeah.
Had to end the season early this year. He kind of went in and out of the lineup with some injuries early on
Mm.
too. But I mean, when he was in there, I thought he's pretty solid. He's a good quarterback. So I want him to be able to play a whole solid year for the Colts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because he's got a lot of potential. So who knows? I mean, like I said, the Colts need tight end, defensive end, um, corner. So will this be the first defensive pick of the draft? The pick is not in as of yet that I know of. So we will see. But folks, if you're joining us late, and I'm sure that you would have turned on the draft before you turned on us, but maybe you're like some of us who don't, subscribe to cable. So of course, Jaden Daniels, drafted by the Commanders at number 2. 6 quarterbacks have come off of the um, draft board, all within the first 12 picks.
Oh yeah.
Bo Nix went to, gosh, uh, Bo Nix went
Denver.
to Denver. Sorry, I could not see the first part of it. Um, JJ McCarthy, of course, going to the Minnesota Vikings, which we all kind of saw that coming.
Oh yeah.
Caleb Williams, Chicago, Jaden Daniels to Washington, Drake May to the Patriots. So a lot of quarterbacks off the draft board. The biggest surprise of the night was Michael Penix Jr. going to Atlanta Falcons. So that's going to be talked about quite a bit, speculated on quite a bit until the season starts, I'm sure. So if there's any quarterback needy teams left in the first round, sorry, you're not drafting a quarterback in the first round.
Oh yeah.
So if you're offensive tackle needy team, you're probably going to be waiting maybe until the second round. I'm thinking at this point maybe you could have some teams maybe Washington moves back in. I have to, you may be able to see Brandon who is left as far as maybe first round talent for tackle, but it's it's definitely interesting. Now we're getting into what I consider the part of the first round where it's like I'm not quite as sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, the first 10 picks is like, yeah, I think we can scout this out pretty well. The first 11, 12 picks, yeah. But now we're getting into some territory where I feel like it's going to be a lot of defensive players maybe coming off the board.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think so too.
So overall, so far, what have you? Has this been a pretty much a predictable draft so far for you, Brandon?
Yeah, it has. I mean, a lot. Like I said, we've been pretty much on point with most of the picks, and I think our picks were pretty indicative of what most people thought about, the fit at the pick selection. So I mean, it's pretty. I mean, like I said, outside of Michael Penix, it was pretty much predictable. And I'm with you. I think the rest of the first round, you're probably looking at best player available because I mean, I know the pick is in for the Colts. And they got a lot of needs, but right now they have a good opportunity too because they have an opportunity to add a high level player. I mean, Dallas Turner would fit. I mean, that corner, Quinion Mitchell, Kool-Aid McKinstry would work. Safety, Lord, we need a safety too, so I don't know what. But tight end, like I said, I thought Brock Bowers was a good pick there, but there's a few other tight ends. You got a kid out of Texas could fit in with the Colts, so that they had the opportunity to find the best player available and find a high level guy who's gonna be able to contribute. So I think it's a good place to be in.
So, you said that the pick is in. We're waiting to see who the Colts pick. Um, and I'm sure my friend at work is probably like, "Would you just announce it already?"
I know, right?
Because he's probably like, "I just need to hear this, and so I can go to bed." So we'll see. Is this going to be the first defensive pick of the 2024 NFL Draft?
Lord, I hope so, man. I mean, too much offense, man. We need some defense.
It's a lot of offense. You are right. It's quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive tackle.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so many tackles. Um, all right. So they're holding up.
Oh, here we go. They picked up
They went with
Edge.
edge.
Yep.
So finally, a defensive pick, a defensive end, edge, um, Latu. I don't know his first name.
Latu.
Lau. Okay, well, you take your pick. You're either calling him by his first name or his last name.
There you
Um,
go.
so the first defensive player off of the board goes to the Indianapolis Colts. So, Philip, if you're listening to this, you can go to bed now. Your your team picked an edge. Um, so there you are. So now the Seahawks are on the clock. We got the Jaguars and the Bengals at 18. Um, but what big names stand out to you that are left to pick in the first round?
Oh man, I mean, Dallas Turner again at edge, Quinion Mitchell, Kool-Aid McKinstry. They need offensive guard, they need edge, so Turner would work, corner, safety, center. So let's pull up some prospects. But those are some I'm thinking about as far as cornerback. But I'm gonna look up the cornerback prospects. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think at this point it's gonna be best player available at this point. So looking at cornerback prospects. And Quinion Mitchell is the top prospect. We used to have Cooper DeJean, Terrion Arnold is still out there. Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alabama, Enos Rockstraw Jr., who has been linked to us out of Missouri, TJ Tampa out of Iowa State, and Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia. So there's a lot of good corners that are available. And let's take a look at safety, man, because I see safety. All right, let's see. All right, safety wise, we're looking at Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota. We're looking at Javon Bullard out of Georgia, and we're looking at Jaden Hicks out of Washington. So, not a lot of big names when it comes to safety. I see safety as probably a position is going to be hit in the mid rounds because you just don't see a lot of names at safety. But as corner, a lot of corners still on the board. We talked about it earlier, running back. Let's take a look at running back, man. I'm looking at NFLDraftBuzz.com. So running back wise, I mean, you have Jonathan Brooks as your number one out of Texas, Jalen Wright out of Tennessee, Trey Benson out of Florida State, Blake Corum out of Michigan, Marshawn Lloyd out of USC, and Ray Davis out of Kentucky. So again, not a lot of the big names, but there's definitely guys you're going to be able to get in the mid rounds. So I mean, looking at position groups, defense is probably going to be more prioritized in the later stages because you have a lot of guys. Defensive line guys are coming up as far as best player available. I'm looking at Natsu's already off the board. A lot of names, including, and he's actually the number one defensive end according to DraftBuzz.com because they got Chop Robinson at 5, and I know he's been linked in the first round. Byron Murphy the second, he's a first round talent. Jazon Newton out of I believe that's Illinois, and then Jared Verse out of Florida State. So and I know as far as the Commanders, we've been linked to Chop Robinson and Darius Robinson as far as the bookends that we're looking at getting in the draft. So I mean, we may have the opportunity in the second round because we have a couple early second round picks. So I guess right now, if we're the Commanders, we're looking at what what big talent or big name drops because there's going to be a couple that drops. Every draft has guys drop, and and sometimes, most of the times, teams are scared because they're like, okay, why didn't he draft him? And then the next team's like, why didn't he draft him? And then so it's kind of like one of those scenarios, but. I think we're in a good spot, man. We got the biggest domino out of the way, which is quarterback. I mean, we can rest easy right now that we have a quarterback. Now, obviously, the work hasn't even started yet, but the big piece is quarterback. But I think like I said, Adam Peters I think he's gonna do a good job with his draft because there's a lot of talent in that second round. I mean, like I said, these a couple of second round picks, they're gonna have to come in and play right away. So you got to be really selective who you get because. We need some work, with his receiver, corner. I mean, personally, I'm just, nothing against St. Juice, man, but I don't see him as number one. I'm not sitting well with him being a number one. So I think we need to go out there and try to reach to go get that number one corner. And yeah, defensive end, I can see it. Chop Robinson was one guy I was looking at. Same thing with Darius Robinson out of Missouri. He's a guy that has been linked to his organization. So if you have the opportunity to get it, even though we have guys right now at the bookend, depth's a good thing, man. So I mean, definitely still go get that edge. Let's see, and obviously left tackle. We've got to get left tackle. So, and we'll take a look at that real quick. Left tackle because I know they're flying off the board. Offensive line. So at offensive line, Joe Alt's gone. Fashanu is gone. J.C. Latham's gone. Fuega's gone. So right now on the board, as far as offensive tackles, we still have Troy Fatanu, Amaris Mims, we have Graham Barton, we have Tyler Guyton, who's been linked to us, Jordan Morgan, Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. I'm a West Virginia guy, my bad. But so we're in an opportunity to grab a guy. We did the video on Jordan Morgan. I think he's a great prospect who can also play guard. And we definitely need a guard. So maybe I mean, depends on the organization, but maybe you go out there and get a couple of offensive linemen in the second round. But we're left tackle on the guard because, you have a guy opposite Cosme at the guard position. So a lot of possibilities. But I think we're definitely heading the right direction, man. But overall, the draft. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the Zach Frazier pick at center kind of perked my ears because I was looking at him during the mock drafts and I kind of thought, wow, he's the best center in the draft.
Oh yeah,
kind of sounds like a guy that I mean, whoever he goes to, he's going to solidify that position for the next several years. And I think we kind of talked about it before. I know I was talking about it earlier today that 3 positions on offense other than running back and wide receiver and tight end that I think are among the most important positions. Quarterback, of course, left tackle, and then center. Because center, especially in the earlier days of your quarterback, they're in charge of getting all the protections right up front, and things like that, letting the quarterback know if he needs to change protections or whatnot. And so, Having a center who's able to do that, I think, is extremely important. So I think whoever picks Frazier up, that's going to be an excellent pick for them. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, just by the look of things, with all the offensive names being taken off of the board, basically in the first half of the draft, it really feels like you're going to have a lot of good names that would have been drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
I think they're going to fall into the second round, and so I think Washington, at their pick, was at 36. They're going to be able to pick a solid person that's probably going to wind up being closer to a first round talent. And so we're hoping maybe it's either a left tackle, or at least someone who can play left tackle.
Yeah.
You know, probably someone who might be naturally a guard who could play left tackle, a corner. Um, and I still feel like you should be able to draft defensive ends as well. I just feel like that on that defensive line, uh, just having good bookends there, solid bookends, will really help matters quite a bit. So I think there's still room for them to draft some good edges. So we will see. We will definitely see. So we're at pick 16 now with Seattle. We're waiting to see what happens. Folks, we probably won't stay for the entire first round. So I'm thinking, Brandon, if it's okay with you, probably by the time we get to maybe pick 20,
Okay. Yeah.
we're gonna end the stream, and then that way you can watch the rest of um, the draft with the privacy of your own home, and mine as well. Um, just let's see. Did Okay, so it looks like one thing that did happen. The Vikings have traded with the Jaguars for the 17th
Oh.
pick. So it's going to be interesting who are the Vikings trading up for.
Oh. Yeah, that is interesting. Let's take a look at the
So
Vikings and see what they need.
the pick is in for the Seahawks and defensive tackle Murphy Jr. out of
Oh,
Texas.
yep.
So
You good, man? Oh,
hold on just a second.
gotcha.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, my my soundboard here, um, it runs off of Bluetooth batteries, and it died.
Oh,
So
man.
so I guess so I guess that means that um, we'll carry this until the 20th pick, and then we'll go ahead and end the stream. I guess that means that my box right here has the battery life of about 2 hours. So, okay,
Okay.
I'll know that for next time. So Seattle picks a defensive tackle. Um, I think there's going to be a lot of defensive tackles in this draft. So a lot. Like when I was doing my mock drafts, is almost like every single pick I had. Hey, do you want a defensive tackle? I was like, I can only have so many on a team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know. I
mean,
mean,
I don't know
I don't
why
know
they
why
would
they would
trade up to
trade up to
17. I'm
17.
trying
I'm
to
trying to
see.
see.
This is going to be interesting. Who are they picking?
I think
I
they go
think they go
corner.
corner.
I was going to think maybe a corner, edge, Dallas
Oh,
Turner.
Oh,
Dallas
Dallas
Turner.
Turner.
Okay. Okay. So Dallas Turner is finally off of the board. Another edge that was drafted within the top 20. So now the Bengals are on the clock, and then we'll have the Chargers after that, the Steelers at 20. So, wow. Okay, with that trade, the Jaguars get the 23rd overall pick, fifth round pick, and 25. I think it was third and fourth round picks.
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow.
So there you go. So the Vikings are shoring up their defensive front. So there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
with
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
I think they
I
go
think they
wide
go wide
receiver.
receiver.
Give some weapons to Joe Burrow,
Oh yeah.
and I would like to see Joe Burrow and the Bengals have a little bit better season this year. I still think that Burrow is one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Hmm.
So, and I think who was it that said today that he's the only one that's been able to beat Patrick Mahomes every time he's played him? I'm not sure if that's the correct
Oh.
stat or not.
Well, I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
looking at
looking at
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
T.
T.
Higgins is
Higgins
what
is
on the
what on the
franchise
franchise
tag.
tag.
So
So
Yeah. So we'll see. The Bengals are on the clock, folks. If you're joining us, yeah, my mic died. Well, it's okay, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably echoing. Yep, sorry about that. We're going to be ending this stream here pretty soon, so just stick with the echoing for just a little bit. I'll tell you what, we will get through the Bengals. We'll get through their pick, and then we will kind of call it a night. And that way we can watch the rest of the draft, and then we'll kind of give our details on it a little bit later. But so, all right, before we end this stream, Brandon, you're thinking wide receiver for the Bengals.
yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So um, we will see. So folks, it's been a offense laden first round so far. We are finally starting to see some defensive players come off of the board, but for the most part, it has been a lot of offense. All of the top quarterbacks, including Bo Nix, off the board. Um, the the shocker of the night is Michael Penix Jr. going to the Atlanta Falcons. Very much of a shocker. And so, hey, folks, I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of great offensive players coming into the league this year, especially a quarterback. So, but I'm happy for these guys. I think this proves that, or at least so far, it proves that this is probably one of the best quarterback drafts
Yeah.
that we have had for a long time. So So yeah, man, I tell you, this is pretty neat. Um, but the Bengals are on the clock. We are waiting for their pick. As soon as their pick comes in, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. But second and third round is tomorrow night, folks. So that's going to be probably that's probably going to be more exciting for us
Oh yeah.
than it was, this draft, because I think we kind of figured it was going to be Jaden Daniels, um, and it was, and we're all happy about that. I feel like um, I'm excited. I'm going to be backing him
Yep.
150%.
Yep.
And I hope that there's going to be other fans who are going to join the bandwagon as well. And I can't wait to see him in the Commander's uniform. Cannot wait to see that. It's just going to be totally awesome. I'm psyched about it. Um, so I'm happy, and I think Drake May is going to do well in New England. Um, you know, Caleb Williams, of course, going to Chicago, like everybody
Yeah.
knew was going to happen. So uh, definitely some great talent uh, coming into the league. So we are waiting for the Bengals, and are they going to a? Oh, they're going to a commercial.
Of
So
course.
uh, sorry, Rambo, you're going to have to hear a little bit more echoing. Um, but yeah, so the Bengals are on the clock. We're thinking maybe wide receiver that they pick, and as soon as that pick is in, um, we will kind of wrap things up, and we will watch the rest of the draft. We'll kind of comment on that a little bit later, probably on the weekend.
Yep. Yep.
We'll definitely cover as well, uh, who we draft for the second and third rounds. We may do another live tomorrow night. Depends. But if we do, we will come back with you. At least I obviously know what my limit is on this mic, so I may change it to another mic if we do it live again. But I've enjoyed doing this live. We're going to
Oh
try to
yeah.
give you some more live streams coming on this channel. 'Cause I know that we haven't done enough live streams, but we definitely want to be able to bring you some more live events like this. So definitely give us a like if you've enjoyed, if you stuck with us through most of this, and if you enjoy just having a YouTube channel, just kind of playing along, doing commentary, so you're not having to listen to some of these talking heads on the NFL. Uh, you can just listen to us ramble on pointlessly sometimes, maybe. But yeah, just a quick housekeeping. We got channel memberships if you want to become a member here with the Washington Maniacs. Please do. We also have a partner here with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile, they provide you a lot of cell phone service for a small amount of money. So visit them in the descriptions of these videos that we put out here. You will save a lot of money, so please check them out. And there will be a lot of more exciting things coming down the pike for the Washington Football Maniacs, for Brandon and I. We've got a lot of great ideas that we are going to come with you for. And so just, stick with us, support us. We want to bring you the best in Commanders entertainment that we possibly can. And Brandon, I'm just now seeing your post, so I'm sorry about that.
It's all good, man.
I think you were probably looking like, man, he looks sleepy. He's just starting to ramble. So, oh Lord. So yeah,
Oh.
we will go ahead and end it as so offensive tackle. All right. So, folks, we thought we were going to get into more defensive guys, but they go offensive tackle. They want to make sure that um, their quarterback is nice and secure and is well protected, Joe Burrow. And so that's another offensive tackle off the board. I tell you, it is something. So, well, before we roll, Brandon, you anything you want to end with?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Just very
Just very
excited about
excited
the
about the
future.
future.
Okay, okay. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. If you did, again, give it a like. Um, and other than some technical issues here toward the end, let us know how we did. Hopefully, and if you would like to see some more live streams, then hey, by all means, let us know. We will definitely schedule those more in the future. With that said, folks, we're going to go ahead and end it for this evening. But you guys, thank you, Warhawk Rambo. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Sir.
Um, but yeah, that is it. Please support this channel. And with that said, enjoy the rest of the draft. We will be coming back to do our commentary on the rest of the draft. And with that said, peace. We will see you guys in the next one.